Hey, we are going to work on free verse poetry today. I'd like to start off by telling you that if you hear any snoring, it's my dog who's laying on my lap. So, free verse is a type of poetry that has no rules. So, we talked about haikus already. They have to have 3 lines, they have to have 5 syllables, then 7 syllables, then 5 syllables. We talked about rhyme schemes, and those have to have rhyming words at the end, and there has to be a pattern of the rhyme. So, for free verse, there are absolutely no rules. You get to just write what you want, make lines when you want to, add punctuation when you want to. You can make things bold or make things italicized just because you want to. So the first poem we're going to look at is called Free Verse. So just like how we had a haiku about haikus, this is a free verse poem about it being free verse. So Free Verse by Robert Graves. I now delight, in spite of the might and the right of classic tradition in writing, and reciting straight ahead without let or omission, just any little rhyme, in any little time, that runs in my head, because I've said my rhymes no longer shall stand arrayed, like Prussian soldiers on parade, that march, stiff as starch, foot to foot, boot to boot, blade to blade, button to button, cheeks and chops and chins like mutton. No, no, my rhymes must go turny, twisty, twinkling, frosty, will o' the wisp like misty. All right, and that's the end of the poem. So, in this poem, I like to think that Robert Graves is writing a poem about how excited he is that he doesn't have to follow a rhyme scheme. He doesn't have to have a certain number of syllables in each line. He says he's in delight, he's happy, he's delighted that he doesn't have to use classic traditional poems. He doesn't have to make it straightforward. Can have any little rhymes that he wants to. Like at the beginning, he has delight, spite, might, right. All 4 of those rhyme, and then he just stops doing it. Tradition, writing, reciting, ahead, omission, rhyme, time, head, said, arrayed, parade, march, starch, foot, boot, blade, button. So just because it has some rhymes, there's no pattern. It can do whatever it wants to. You can have rhymes. You don't have to. Each line, remember, when you make a line, you have to press enter when you're writing your own. So you can press enter at any time. Some of the lines are really long, some are really short. So let's look at 3 more poems. Fog by Carl Sandburg. Notice this one is shorter. There's one stanza because there's not a space, kind of like paragraphs. Remember, stanzas are like paragraphs. So there's one stanza, there 6 lines, and we'll see if there's any rhyme. So, Fog by Carl Sandburg. The fog comes on little cat feet. It sits looking over the harbor and city on silent haunches and then moves on. So this one's talking, the first one was kind of like a funny one about free verse poems. This one is about nature. The theme is nature. It's talking about fog. So it doesn't rhyme. Comes, feet, looking, city, haunches, on. So it doesn't have to rhyme. Some of the lines are longer, some are shorter, some are capitalized, some are not. You can write free verse exactly how you want. There are no rules. So, City of Potholes. So notice that some are short, some are long. There's only one stanza here. They don't keep making new little paragraphs. So let's read City of Potholes by Kelly Roper. Zigzagging down the road, trying not to stray over the center line, or hit a curb, or break an axle, or flatten a tire, or wind up in the next surprise sinkhole. Driving in Toledo is not a sport for the timid, or the sane, or the underinsured. So that one's kind of a funny one about something that happens in the city. You have lots of potholes, and they're writing a poem about having to drive around and kind of making it sound funny. Like it's not a sport for the timid, that means shy. It's kind of an exciting sport to try to dodge all the potholes in the roads. All right, and I thought you guys would enjoy this one. It's called An Ode to Coffee. I know you guys really like coffee. An Ode to Coffee by Kelly Roper. Beautiful brown liquid steaming in my cup, becoming a muddy river as I stir in the cream. That aroma gives me courage, the flavor that tastes like hope for a better day, and the energy that renews my will to live. Tomorrow morning, we'll do it all again, my friend. So, this one's kind of a funny poem about something that this author must love coffee. So, they called it An Ode to Coffee. And it's free verse because there are no rules. We have cup, cream, courage, day, live, friend. Not a single rhyme in the whole poem. There's only one stanza. Some lines are longer than others. You can make a poem of any type that you want to. So you are going to be writing your own free verse poem. I want you to remember to click enter in between lines. Don't just write it in one big long line. I'm also going to ask you a couple questions about your own poem. So, just like in our first poem, you can rhyme, and in the last poem, there's no rhyme at all. You don't have to, but you can rhyme if you want to. You can make it funny, you could make it about nature, you can make it about something that you enjoy, like free verse. So, go ahead and open up the Google form. I can't wait to see what you guys write.